All this week on 100 Huntley Street, we are seeking to refuel. And why not? It's the calling of our lives to be filled with a passion for the Lord Jesus Christ. And on that note, Jesus himself told a life-changing parable from Matthew chapter 13. Jesus said this, listen carefully, "The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and covered up. Then in his joy, he went and sells all that he had and buys the field." Now, one of the great indicators of our passion for Christ is whether or not we get the kingdom of heaven. Now, remember, in this parable, Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is like. So let me ask you, do you get the kingdom of heaven? I mean, do you really get it? Because if we truly get the kingdom of heaven, you know what? It directs our lives, it defines our lives, and yes, it fuels our lives. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure. Here's another great question to ask you right now, a powerful and penetrating question for you and for me. Parents right now, parents, if I went up to your kids and I asked them, what does mom and dad treasure most? What would their answer be? Would their answer be, well, my dad, he likes sports, or he likes his hobby, or he seems to like his job, but for sure he loves Jesus Christ the most. Hey, spouses, if I went up to your spouse and I'd say, what does your husband or what does your wife, what do they really love most? What would their answer truly be? And just pausing just long enough for you to consider that, because our spouses truly know the answer, don't they? Hey, retirees, if I went up to, say, your grandkids or people around you that you love, and I asked them, they have this time or they're in this different stage of life, what are they valuing? What is the way that they're living? What does it say about what they love most? What would their answer be? And pastors and leaders, if I ask those who are under your leadership and following you, I ask them, what does your leader truly love the most by the way they live and what they talk about and the time they spend? Would the answer truly be the Lord Jesus Christ and the kingdom of heaven? If you're bold enough to, I ask you maybe even to take some time today to ask that question of people you really love and really seeking to have a true answer, because it's very telling for us to find out how and what are our lives being spent on. In the parable today, which has always been one of my favorites, within it we see this powerful method and this powerful sequence here. We see this of treasure and joy and sacrifice. I mean, in this verse, I'll read it to you again. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and covered up. Listen, then in his joy, he goes and sells all that he has and buys the field. Now, I'm thrilled to show this to you, okay, when you get this. Notice this man, he's walking along, he stumbles upon the treasure. The moment the treasure and the value is seen, instantly it leads to joy. He sees the value of the treasure, it leads to a joy. Now notice this, in his joy, he doesn't groan, he doesn't hesitate, he sells all that he has to buy the field. So we see here treasure leading to joy, leading to sacrifice. Not once complaining or whining, because he loves the treasure so much. It's where his value is in. Everything flows from that. Do you see how the gospel is supposed to be like? Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is like. When you see what Jesus Christ gives in his life, death, and resurrection, and all that he gives to us in victory over death itself, you see the treasure of the gospel, the joy in the gospel, and then you're willing to do anything for the gospel, because what else do you need? You've been given everything you could possibly have. See where passion comes from? Passion comes from valuing the treasure, leading to joy, which ultimately says, of course, I'll give my life to Jesus Christ. He has given me everything I could ever want. This is the heart and the secret for passion for your life and mine.